Let's be completely honest for a second. We've all been lied to by the mainstream fitness media. They tell you that if you aren't 6'2", you are completely invisible to women. They tell you that your height is a definitive genetic ceiling on your attractiveness. But they are completely ignoring basic human psychology and visual optics. When a girl first looks at you, her eyes do not immediately pull out a measuring tape to calculate your exact height from the floor. Instead, her brain runs a series of lightning-fast, subconscious evolutionary calculations. She is scanning your frame for immediate, undeniable markers of physical power, biological dominance, and genetic strength.
And do you know where her eyes drop the absolute second you roll up your sleeves, check your phone, or reach for a glass on a table? Your forearms, your wrists, your grip. If your wrists look fragile, if your skin looks soft, and if your lower arms resemble toothpicks, it sends an immediate subconscious signal to her brain that you lack physical capability. It screams fragility. But here is the massive, unfair advantage that the mainstream fitness industry will never tell you. Because you have a shorter frame, you can pack dense, vascular muscle onto your forearms in literally half the time it takes a taller guy. A tall guy has to build massive amounts of muscle mass just to make his long, lanky limbs look full. For you, a tiny fraction of hyper-targeted growth creates an immediate, explosive visual impact. I am the short captain, and in this video, we are going to stop letting weak wrists ruin your presence. We are going to break down the exact biomechanical blueprint that shorter men must use to build thick, powerful, attention-grabbing forearms that command respect the absolute second you roll up those sleeves. No fluff, no generic advice, just pure science, heavy iron, and the ultimate routine to maximize your genetic advantage and impress the girls by showing undeniable physical dominance.
To understand why you can build massive forearms so quickly, we have to look at the actual physics of your body. Muscle building is entirely dictated by leverage, muscle belly length, and mechanical efficiency. Taller lifters suffer from what we call extreme bone leverage. Because their arms are longer, the distance between their elbow joint and their wrist joint is vastly extended. This means that when they perform a movement, the resistance profile is incredibly unforgiving, and the muscle tissue is stretched over a massive surface area. They can train for months, add an inch of muscle to their arms, and still look skinny because that muscle is distributed across a long bone.
You, as a shorter man, have the ultimate genetic shortcut in this specific department. Your muscle bellies are shorter and your leverage points are highly compact. When you trigger hypertrophy in the forearm complex, the muscle fibers bunch up and expand outward rather than stretching out linearly. This creates what sports scientists call the bellows effect. A minor increase in cross-sectional muscle area results in a massive, thick 3D visual appearance. You get the fullness, the density, and the deep muscular valleys that look incredibly powerful, while the tall guy is still struggling to fill out his lanky frame. Furthermore, your compact levers mean your joint stability is naturally superior. When you perform heavy forearm and grip work, your wrists and elbows aren't subjected to the same extreme shearing forces that wreck the joints of taller individuals.
You can handle heavier relative loads, recover faster, and stimulate a much higher level of mechanical tension. Mechanical tension is the single most important driver of muscle growth. By exploiting your shorter leverage, you can load your forearms with weights that will shock your nervous system into rapid growth. But you cannot just walk into the gym and do random bicep curls, expecting your forearms to explode. The forearm is one of the most complex muscle groups in the human body, consisting of roughly 20 different small muscles divided into anterior and posterior compartments. If you only train them with basic movements, you are leaving 70% of your growth on the table. To truly build lower arms that look like body armor, we need a multi-dimensional attack strategy. We need to target the 3 distinct zones of forearm thickness: the brachioradialis, the wrist flexors and extensors, and the deep digits responsible for crushing grip strength. Let's dive into the first critical zone of our routine. If you want your arms to look thick from the front, the exact angle a girl sees when you are standing across from her or sitting at a table, you must prioritize the brachioradialis. This is the massive muscle that sits on the top, outer part of your forearm and crosses over your elbow joint. When this muscle is highly developed, it completely bridges the gap between your upper arm and your lower arm, eliminating that awkward, weak look where a big bicep suddenly drops off into a tiny, thin forearm. The
absolute king of exercises for the brachioradialis is the reverse grip barbell curls, but we are going to execute it with a specific mechanical tweak tailored for shorter arms. Standard curls put your hands in a supinated position, which shifts all the load to the biceps.
By flipping your hands into a fully pronated palms down position, you mechanically disadvantage the bicep, forcing the brachioradialis to take over 90% of the workload. To execute this perfectly, stand with your feet shoulder width apart. Grab a straight barbell or an easy curl bar with a strict palms down grip. Now, because your levers are shorter, you do not want to swing the weight using momentum from your hips. Keep your elbows absolutely pinned to your ribs. As you curl the bar upward, focus on driving the back of your wrists toward the ceiling. Stop the movement just before your forearms touch your biceps to maintain constant, agonizing tension on the muscle. Lower the weight slowly, taking a full 3 seconds on the eccentric phase. The eccentric descent is where the most muscle damage occurs, and because shorter lifters have incredible eccentric control, you can completely optimize this phase. Perform 4 full sets of 10 to 12 controlled repetitions, focusing on the deep burn. To supplement this, we immediately transition into the dumbbell hammer curls with a static hold twist.
Hold 2 heavy dumbbells at your sides with a neutral grip, palms facing each other. As you curl one arm up, bring the dumbbell towards your opposite shoulder. This slight internal rotation perfectly aligns the muscle fibers of the brachioradialis with the line of pull. While one arm is moving, the other arm is holding the opposite dumbbell at a strict 90-degree angle, forcing an intense isometric contraction. This isometric hold floods the forearm with massive metabolic stress, forcing the blood vessels to expand and creating that deep vascular look that instantly catches the eye. Run this for 3 sets of 12 reps per arm, alternating back and forth without losing tension.
Now let's address the area right above the wrist bone, the exact spot where guys complain about having skinny wrists. As I mentioned earlier, you cannot physically grow the size of your wrist skeleton, but you can build the muscle bellies right above it to create a powerful, tapered visual illusion. To achieve this, we must directly target the wrist flexors on the underside of the forearm and the wrist extensors on the top. We begin with the behind-the-back barbell wrist curls. This is an old-school bodybuilding secret that completely isolates the wrist flexors without letting your biceps interfere. Stand in front of a loaded barbell, turn your back to it, and reach down to grab it with your palms facing away from your body. Lift the bar up so it rests against your upper glutes. Now, allow the barbell to slowly roll down your fingers, opening up your hands completely. This stretches the deep tendons of the forearm. From this fully stretched position, close your fingers into a fist and curl your wrists upward, squeezing the underside of your forearms as hard as humanly possible at the top of the movement. Because your shorter fingers and hands give you an exceptionally tight, secure grip, you can load this movement significantly heavier than a taller person can. Perform 4 full sets of 15 to 20 repetitions. The forearms are predominantly composed of slow-twitch endurance muscle fibers, meaning they respond phenomenally well to higher rep ranges and intense metabolic burns.
Directly after crushing the flexors, we must balance the structural integrity of the arm by blasting the wrist extensors using the seated dumbbell wrist extensions. Sit on a bench, grab a pair of relatively light dumbbells, and rest your forearms completely flat along your thighs, allowing your wrists to hang off the edge of your knees with your palms facing the floor. Without lifting your arms off your thighs, isolate your wrists and raise the dumbbells upward toward the ceiling. You will feel an immediate, intense burning sensation across the top of your lower arms. This movement fixes that fragile, flat look on the top of the arm. Do not ego lift here. Use a controlled cadence. Perform 3 sets of 15 reps, ensuring you pause for a full second at the peak contraction of every single rep.
The final piece of the puzzle is what truly separates the amateur lifters from the true captains. We need to build crushing grip strength and insane snake-like vascularity. When you shake hands with someone or when you casually grab an object around a girl, a powerful, firm grip sends an immediate primal signal of high testosterone, confidence, and physical capability. Soft, weak hands kill attraction instantly. To develop this, we are going to exploit your lowest center of gravity with the heavy farmer's carries. Shorter men absolutely dominate this movement because our proximity to the ground gives us incredible stability and structural balance. Pick up the absolute heaviest pair of dumbbells or kettlebells you can safely manage. Stand up perfectly straight, pull your shoulders back to lock in your posture, pack your neck, and begin taking short, deliberate heel-to-toe steps. As you walk, your forearms are forced into an extreme, prolonged isometric contraction to keep
keep those heavy weights from slipping out of your hands. Your nervous system will be screaming, and blood will violently pump into your lower arms, forcing your veins to push directly against the skin.
Do not stop until your grip completely fails. Walk for a minimum of 45 seconds per set, executing 3 total rounds of this brutal finisher. To top off the vascularity, we use the sledgehammer leverage deviations. Grab a sledgehammer or a heavily weighted leverage bar at the very base of the handle. Hold your arms straight down at your side. Using only your wrist joint, slowly tilt the hammer backward and forward in a controlled arc. This targets the radial and ulnar deviation pathways, which are completely neglected by standard lifting routines. This movement strengthens the stabilizer tendons right around the wrist joint, giving you that thick, rock-solid wrist armor appearance that makes your watches and bracelets look incredibly masculine and well-proportioned. Perform 2 sets of 15 controlled tilts on each arm.
Let's recap the exact protocol we just built. You are going to run this dedicated forearm circuit twice a week, ideally at the end of your upper body or pull days when your arms are already warm. First, reverse grip barbell curls for 4 sets of 10 to 12 reps to hyper-target the brachioradialis. Second, dumbbell hammer curls with static holds for 3 sets of 12 reps to introduce maximal metabolic stress. Third, behind the back barbell wrist curls for 4 sets of 15 to 20 reps to build underside thickness. Fourth, seated dumbbell wrist extensions for 3 sets of 15 reps to create topside fullness. And finally, heavy farmer's carries for 3 sets to absolute grip failure to force maximum vascularity.
Stop listening to the black pill excuses online that claim shorter guys can't stand out or make an impression. The fitness game is entirely about creating visual dominance through flawless proportions, density, and sheer physical presence. When you build massive vascular forearms, you are weaponizing your genetic layout. You are creating an instant visual marker of strength that commands respect from men and undeniable attraction from women the second you show up. Put this routine to work. Stop making excuses about your genetics and start exploiting your mechanical advantages. If you want more high-leverage fitness blueprints specifically engineered to maximize the shorter frame and build a body that commands presence everywhere you go, make sure to hit that subscribe button right now. I am the Short Captain. Drop your current wrist size or your fitness goals in the comments down below. Stay disciplined, train heavy, and I will see you in the next video. Keep conquering.